Hello, everyone out there in YouTube land. I'm going to talk here a little bit about getting potatoes ready to plant. It's March the 25th down here in Southwest Virginia. And I just bought a 50-pound bag of Harvest Gold potatoes. You can see the bag over there. These particular potatoes are red Pontaic potatoes. They're a red potato. The red potatoes are most desired by most people. My wife likes them, and they are a little bit more expensive in stores. So I only plant red potatoes. Of course, you can plant white potatoes if you want, or yellow potatoes. Lots of different types of potatoes to plant, or you can certainly mix them up. But like I say, these are red Pontaic. Now, when you buy these sweet potatoes in a 50-pound bag, this 50-pound bag here I bought, they come and you can see that each potato has a multitude of eyes on it. Each one of these little buds is called an eye, and that will grow a root system and little potatoes on it. Now, you can plant the whole potato if you want to, and some people do that. But if you want your potatoes to go further and get a bigger patch, what you can do is you can take and cut the potato in 2 or 3 different pieces. Like here's one that I cut. You can see on this particular piece here, it's got 2 eyes on it, which is a plenty. And here's another piece that I cut. It's just got 1 eye on it, but it's a good eye. And here's another one that I cut that's actually that piece right there has 4 eyes on it. And what you do is when you cut these like this, you take and you lay them on a table, or you lay them out somewhere. You lay them flesh side up so that they'll dry. And before you put them in the ground, you don't want to put them in the ground when they're wet like this. You want that cut side to dry some for a day or 2. And then when you put them in the ground, before you put them in the ground, you can mix some sulfur, put some sulfur in a bag and shake it around and give them all a good dusting. And that helps keep them from rotting in the ground. So once again, these is red Pontaic potatoes, and I'm cutting them in sections. I'll take a big potato like this, and I'll probably cut that potato probably in about 3 sections. You can see all these eyes on top are budding out real good. There's an eye there, and there's an eye right there. What happens is if the potato is setting up like that, and the light is up in on top like this, those things, you'll see they go toward the light and they grow up. So you can take a look at that on other some of these others too. Over here's one that has really rooted out. This potato right here, it's really started to root out the eyes on that potato, and there's one over here also. So anyway, you can see that each one of those eyes start performing roots. So you really only need 1 eye to produce a bunch of potatoes. So that's why you take and you cut your potatoes in you can do them in thirds or quarters. I just kind of judge it by how many eyes are on the potato and how big the potatoes are. If they're real big, you might cut it into 4 different sections. If they're smaller ones, you just might cut it in half. And there's one little bitty guy here. You can see this little bitty potato. It's got an eye on him there coming out, but actually it's got an eye on the other side too. It's got 2 eyes on that little potato. So I just don't. I could cut that in 2 if I wanted to, but I just plant the whole thing because it's so small. It's a really small potato. But all these others, I'll cut them in at least halves. Some of them I'll cut in thirds, and some of them I'll quarter. And that way you can take a 50-pound bag of potatoes and you can plant like you're planting 200 pounds. If you cut them in quarters, that would be 200 pounds. And that saves you a lot of money from having to buy so many potatoes if you'd plant them whole. Like I said, that's a 50-pound bag over there, and that costs $21. I planted 50 pounds last year, and I got about 500 or 600 pounds of potatoes that I harvested. So it turns out to be really productive, and you can go out in the garden and dig potatoes anytime you want to, as long as it's dry enough. It's not too muddy out there. But we didn't buy many potatoes last year. Most potatoes that we bought, most potatoes that we ate, we dug them right out of the garden. As a matter of fact, I just dug the last ones here about a week and a half ago, and I made a little video on that. I believe I made a little YouTube video on that, digging the last of my potatoes. I had a pickup truck bed load, just one level, one layer. So I had probably, the last ones I dug, I probably had 50, 60 pounds of potatoes in that bunch. Maybe 70, 80 pounds. So definitely my production last year, I definitely got 4 or 5, 6 or 7 or 8 times what I planted back. So if you get back 4 or 5 or 6 times or tenfold what you plant, you're doing really, really good. So anyway, that's a little video on getting potatoes ready to plant. It's 25th of March down here in Southwest Virginia, and we're getting ready to plant these potatoes. I'll let these things where I've cut them, I'll let them dry here for a few days before I plant them. And then I'll dig my rows and fertilize them and put some granulated lime in the rows also, and I'll till that in real good, and then I'll go through and I'll plant these things. And they should be coming up here in about a month or so, and they'll grow for 4 or 5, 6 months, and then the vines will die and be able to harvest potatoes. Probably be able to harvest potatoes within a few months, within 2 or 3 months, small ones anyway. But anyway, that's a video on planting potatoes down here in Southwest Virginia. These are Harvest Gold potatoes, and they're a red Pontaic, which is a red potato. So I hope you folks enjoyed the video, and if you did, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I certainly would appreciate it. Thanks a lot, and you folks have a nice day, and we'll see you out in the great outdoors someplace, gardening or hiking or fishing or doing something out there. So once again, have a nice day. Thanks.